Hey everybody, this is GGB, and unfortunately no co-host poppers today. My brother's taking a test, and he took her into the room, so I can't go grab her, and I have to record it before I go to class. I go to class in like a couple of hours, and I go to work for like till 4, and it needs to be uploaded before 4 because the first game's at 2, so it's just it's a whole thing to go through with you guys, but fortunately I can't wait for Pup to be available, but luckily we have this amazing room my parents were willing to lend us because I can't record it in the room next to my brother's because he is again taking a test, so I can't do that, and it's a whole thing. But I got to get this episode out before 2, so we're recording it now. So let's go over the recap of Thursday basketball. Finally, I got one, guys. I got one, and dang it had to be the no-brainer. It's the one I obviously chose. It was the one. It was the only one available, and it was San Diego State at number 24 San Diego State and number 23 Arizona State. So, one ranking separation. Yes, please. Fantastic. That was so great that I could get that. But now we're looking at the Aztecs playing the Sun Devils, and it's just, the Sun Devils did not look good. And as my theory with the Pac-12 goes, they all suck. The Arizona State, actually, it was like, yes, we do all suck. We're going to prove it today. It's not that San Diego State's a bad team, but you should have kept it closer by than 20 points. It was a horrible blowout loss for the Sun Devils. Aztecs got a huge win on their resume. I think they're still undefeated, so I don't know how they're just this low in the rankings. They'll probably raise higher next week. But San Diego State's a team that's looking pretty good, so watch out. But let's go over the 5 games that are being played with ranked teams in the matchups on Friday. So again, I do the game that I'm going to pick last. So let's start with the 2 o'clock matchup that I'm definitely not going to pick. North Texas at number 11 West Virginia. And I say definitely not pick. And I really do mean it. It's the second worst spread-wise. The West Virginia's favored by 14.5. And a lot of people thinking why that's so low because you don't know much about North Texas basketball. North Texas basketball is not normally that bad. They're Conference USA. They're normally at the top of Conference USA every year. So I don't think this is a bad spread, and I really think North Texas has a chance of covering this. But the fact is West Virginia's been playing some phenomenal basketball, and I don't have the ability for me to say, yep, I'm going to pick West Virginia, especially with the 14.5 point spread and that being the second worst of the day. Dang it, I got hiccups. One of the 6 o'clock games, we have Omaha at number 5 Kansas. This is the worst spread of the day, and it's obviously why I'm not picking this one, right? Kansas favored by 24. It's Omaha, right? So it's not a team that I'd be like, yay, I get to pick Omaha. They're a good basketball team. No. Plus, they're playing Kansas, which is one of the best teams in the country right now, playing some really good basketball. And I can't do it. I am not going to pick Kansas. And I actually think they're closer to covering the spread than Omaha is to winning it. By the way, it's on ESPN2 if you want to watch it. Nebraska at number 8 Creighton, and I was like, how is this spread the second lowest of the day? And I'm like, oh my god. The fact is, once I saw the spread, I actually considered picking this game, but the fact is, there's no way on planet Earth I ever, and I mean ever, pick Nebraska to win a basketball game. Nebraska's, like, I think I'd bet the Jets to win a basketball game before I picked Nebraska to win a basketball, yeah. I think the Jets are probably better at basketball than Nebraska is at basketball. It's really bad. Nebraska is not a good basketball team, like, ever. It's like Northwestern, consistently a really bad basketball team. So, yeah, of course I'm not going to pick them, especially since they're playing Creighton, a team that is top 10 and really playing like a top 10 team. Barely lost to Kansas the other night, and then it was, dang it, that was a close one. It was the one I picked, and it really sucked, but, you know, I think he just makes that free throw at the end of the game. Goes to overtime, but, you know, it worked out the way it worked out. I gotta win this one, by the way, to keep my hopes of being over 500 since I started out 0-3. Thankfully, the Aztecs made sure I didn't lose hope on Thursday, but I might lose hope today. Because this is the worst game I think I picked, mainly because there's not any good games. All the teams are favored by double-digit points, so just not a great game that I wanted to pick and resting all my hopes on it. 8 o'clock, Iowa State and number 3, Iowa. It was also a game I was considering picking before I watched Iowa absolutely dominate against UNC, and I thought, you know what? I think Iowa's probably one of the best teams in the country this year. Iowa's looking like legitimately top 3, and they're going to get a chance to prove it, I think, next week when they play Gonzaga. So they're going to get a chance to prove it against a really good opponent in Gonzaga, but I think Iowa's going to be a Final Four team. They've just looked so good. Like, UNC stopped Luka Garza as close as you can stop Luka Garza, only giving him like 18 points. But everyone else scored, like 4 other players scored more than him, all in the 20s. So, I mean, when you try to stop Luka Garza and 4 other players on Iowa's team score more than Luka Garza, and they're all in the 20s, and Luka Garza is also in the 18s, just proves that that team's good all around, and we're just all focusing on Luka Garza because he's amazing. But the other players on that basketball team are also really good. I just don't think Iowa State pulling off the upset here. I just don't think they're that good of a basketball team this year. Football-wise, they're doing pretty good, though. Finally, this is going to be my pick. Number 9, Villanova at Georgetown. There's some reasons why I'm picking this game, and hang it with me here. Georgetown's the only underdog that gets it at home, and while you don't get any fans in the stadium, not having to travel places is nice. But Villanova's shown some weaknesses. Georgetown is probably the best underdog on this list so far. Georgetown's looked really good with... Yeah, it's looked like a good basketball team so far. They lost a close one to Nevada, but other than that, I think they have one other loss that's reasonable, though. It's a good loss. It's not like I'm in love with Georgetown. It's not even like I think Georgetown has a huge shot at pulling off this upset. I think it has maybe a 25% chance of pulling off this upset. I don't think it's that high, maybe 15%, but it's higher than all the other ones, I think, so I'm going to take my chances, roll the dice, and pick Georgetown. Everybody, this is GGB saying adios amigos and go Hoyas.